start today in Puerto Rico, where the island's government just announced new restrictions and requirements, all in an effort to curb the spread of COVID-19. Our Christian Ramos has the whole story.
As a result of the spike in COVID cases, Puerto Rico's Governor Pedro Pierluisi announced a new executive order to manage the situation that includes new restrictions for citizens and businesses.
Pero lo más importante es que no se ha dado transmisión en las propias escuelas.
The changes include restricted hours for a large majority of businesses, a ban on social activities in both public and private places, and a prohibition on the sale of alcohol from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. every day of the week. All private operations that serve the public must close from 12 a.m. to 5 a.m., including commercial, professional, and non-professional consumer service, sales, and entertainment. As previously reported, commercial establishments must enforce vaccine mandates on their employees and clients or require a negative COVID-19 test. Another of the measures imposed by the governor include the cancellation of selective surgeries.
Estarán en vigor por 3 semanas y yo espero que den resultados.
Reporting from San Juan, Puerto Rico, Christian Ramos.
All right, thanks, Christian. Well, the Delta variant, which is the most dominant strain of COVID-19, is fueling the surge in positive cases in Antigua and Barbuda. Dr. Lester Simon, the head of the laboratory at the Sir Lester Bird Medical Center, said that Delta has taken over Antigua and Barbuda. He says based on the samples sent to the Caribbean Public Health Agency, there have been a significant number of Delta cases found on the Twin Island. According to Dr. Simon, many different variations of the Delta variant were detected in Antigua roughly around the same time. Dr. Simon says as a result, the variant is being spread by all types of people and not just locals.
Now, what is interesting about this? Hope I don't get in trouble for saying this. But what's interesting about this, people been talking about, this is bringing in COVID, that is bringing in COVID. There's enough Delta here to go around for everybody, all the types of people to bring in this country. We talk a lot of nonsense sometimes, and the sense escapes us because there are tens of thousands of residents here. And naturally, residents will spread COVID more than anybody else, just by plain simple arithmetic that we learn in kindergarten. But as I said the last time, I was almost crucified for saying so. Tourists bring in COVID as well. I've known Delta brought in here by black people, by white people, by all sorts of people. It doesn't matter. It's not a racial thing. It's a question of once you come into a country, you bring your diseases with you.
In the meantime, the number of new cases of COVID-19 in kids continues to rise. According to the latest data from the American Academy of Pediatrics and Children's Hospital, roughly 204,000 new pediatric cases were reported last week alone. The experts say this marks the second week with child cases at the level of the winter surge. The data also shows that children represented 22.4% of weekly cases. As of August 26, nearly 4.8 million children have tested positive for COVID-19 since the pandemic began. And new research from China finds many patients with severe cases of COVID-19 now have long-lasting symptoms. The study tracked more than 1,200 residents of Wuhan who were hospitalized with COVID at the very beginning of the pandemic. Now, 1 year later, most patients had recovered and returned to work, but about half had at least one ongoing symptom, like muscle weakness or fatigue. Nearly 1 in 3 survivors still experienced a shortness of breath, and some of the most critically ill had lung abnormalities. COVID patients also had worse overall health than their peers who never got infected. And switching gears, the remnants of Hurricane Ida continue to turn northward in the U.S. mainland, leaving widespread power outages in its wake in Louisiana and Mississippi. So far, 2 fatalities have been confirmed, but officials fear the death toll could turn out much higher than what they expect. Michael George reports from Bridge City, Louisiana.
A massive emergency response is now underway after Hurricane Ida blasted the Gulf Coast.
They just start falling apart, blowing away on me. I ain't got a dry spot in the house.
The storm delivered its hardest hit to Louisiana after making landfall there on Sunday. These homes in Houma, in the southern part of the state, among those that are now unrecognizable to their owners.
We'll make it though. I know somebody will be there to give me a hand. So, excuse me, guys.
In George County, Mississippi, 2 people were killed and 10 others injured when a section of Highway 26 washed away last night. An incident officials say was likely caused by Ida's downpour.
We've experienced a lot of torrential rainfall in the last 24 hours in our area.
State police said 7 vehicles went into the hole left by the washout. Here in New Orleans, the mayor has said no one will be left behind, but people here will be left in the dark. The power in the metro area won't be restored for several days. Louisiana's levee system appears to have mostly held up against Ida. Its electrical grid did not. Over 1 million homes and businesses were left without power.
It is going to be hot here, so I know that people are going to be making accommodations to go someplace where they can get air conditioning.
The National Weather Service predicted the city's heat index could rise to a potentially life-threatening 103 degrees today.
Well, here in the Caribbean, we are no stranger to tropical storms, but as Tropical Storm Ida continues to churn towards the northern parts of the U.S. mainland, flash flooding is now one of the biggest threats facing millions of people. Officials are warning everyone in the storm's path to stay vigilant. Mandy Gaither has more on how to stay safe.
From Louisiana to West Virginia, more than 50 million people now under a flash flood watch as Tropical Storm Ida moves northward.
Take care of yourself, take care of your property, stay close to home, don't venture out into the streets right now.
A flash flood watch means flooding is possible in your area. A flash flood warning means flooding is already happening or will happen in your area soon. If there's a warning, the Red Cross says to head for higher ground, stay away from floodwaters. 6 inches of swiftly moving water can sweep you off your feet, so don't go near a flowing stream where the water is above your ankles. If you come to a flooded road while driving, turn around and take another route. If you're caught in a flooded road and the water around you is rising, get out of the car quickly and move to higher ground. Most cars can be swept away by moving water that is less than 2 feet high. Be especially cautious at night when it may be more difficult to recognize flood danger. With many in Ida's path now without power, the Red Cross says to make sure generators are kept dry. Don't touch them with wet hands. Let them cool before refueling. Gasoline spilled on hot engine parts could ignite. And be aware of carbon monoxide poisoning. Keep generators outside, away from doors, windows, and vents that could allow carbon monoxide to come indoors.